There's nothing quite like seeing a car that turns heads because every detail on it says pride and passion. That's exactly the kind of magic Mod Crew led by owner Sean Rogers brings to the table. Mod Crew isn't just another detailing garage. It's a full-blown automotive lifestyle brand, blending the love of cars with the love of fashion, true to their Instagram bio, which says, where the love of automobiles meet the love of fashion. Sean Rogers has become a recognizable face in Hyderabad car scene, even making waves at drag racing events and speed fests. They offer different services, and here are some of them. Ceramic coating, their signature service, premium car care, paint protection film, custom wheel alignments, paint correction, and detailing tailored to your vehicle needs. They are specialized in 800 GSM microfiber cloths for flawless streak-free finishes. They also organize different community events. They host car meetups, detailing clinics, and sweepstakes, creating a passionate community around cars. Mod Crew gives you that complete package. Elite car care, elite forward detailing, and a community that cares, and very fashionable merchandise. And I'm so grateful to Mod Crew and Mr. Sean Rogers for coming on board to produce this episode and also investing in our vision and helping us accomplish move. Thank you so much, and now let's get straight into the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Can't Count Them Presents podcast. This is your host, Navina, and I'm super excited to see you. Today, I have the honor and privilege of hosting a guest who has made a remarkable impact in both education and ministry. Well, I know that's a pretty long intro, but believe me, there's a lot more to catch up on. Let's welcome Dr. Uma Joseph. Hello, Dr. Uma. Thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here.
It's been a long time since we've planned, and finally it's happening.
True. I'm also glad it finally happened.
Yeah, so shall we get started?
Sure.
So, can I know a little bit about your childhood and upbringing?
I would say that I had a real happy childhood. Grew up with three siblings. All of us we were four girls, so we had a lot of fun. We didn't even have to look maybe for friends outside because we four were there together, and we had just loving and doting parents. My dad was actually, he retired as the Assistant Collector of Customs and Central Excise. But he was such a busy person, but he had a lot of time for ministry, and he also had a lot of time for the family. So I think I had real doting parents, and they gave such a happy, atmosphere at home. So it was really great growing up in an atmosphere like this. As far as academics is concerned, you'll be surprised that I was not at all interested in my childhood in academics. I was a real happy-go-lucky kid who really thought that if I just had enough to get into the next grade, that was good enough compared to my sisters who would always top their classes. So now they are quite amused to see, where I have really reached.
Yeah. So you told that your father is a government employee, right? So how come you came into the teaching side? Were you not interested to get into the same line of work?
No, I thought a lot about it because the subject that I chose, many of them said that will help you actually to even probably try for Group 1 services or civil
Okay.
services to go into government jobs. But somehow for me, from the beginning, my passion was for teaching. So
Okay.
I didn't really venture into that area.
Yeah. What inspired you to take history? Because generally history and these subjects, right? I
Yeah.
don't think just in in these years, but even since a long time, the relevance of history or the opportunities when you take a subject like this is few, right? So
Yeah, that's true. Like very often, people ask me this question, and people even often think that, if you're not doing good in academics, then you choose history. But for me, I was really fascinated about the study of the past. Even when I was, growing up as a child, when we would take some, of our relatives who would come visiting Hyderabad. Hyderabad, fortunately, is a very historical city.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of historical monuments that are there. So when, I would be so, more than them, I would be excited about seeing a place which I have seen so many times. So that really made me think that, think of much more, to think of what are all the things that are connected with this place. And so that fascination really made me read more and more about the past. And so though my marks were good and I was doing very good in math, I still chose history. And I really don't have any regrets about that.
So it was purely out of love
Yes,
for
it
the
was
subject.
about love for the subject. In fact, when I joined even in the college and, chose, at least till school, we all choose, we don't have a
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
We study all the subjects. So when I chose this, even the person at the office asked me, do you want to think again?
Yeah.
And then even after 1 month, I was actually called and asked, like, do you want
Okay,
to change?
rethink, yeah.
Because you're really topping your class. But I said, no, I just love it and I want to continue.
So you're born in a Christian family,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Grew up in a good Christian home. So the atmosphere itself in the home was about, the importance for God, to know who He was. So there was always a curiosity, a desire to please God. But, there was a time when, as we were growing up as children, maybe many times we thought, it's nice to be good. But then it was when I was just 10 years old that I was attending one of these. In summer, we have these vacation Bible schools.
Yeah.
And so that was when the teacher said that it's not enough to be good, but you need to give your heart to God and to Jesus. And so that's what really made the whole difference. I realized what it was to. So from a very young age, that is at that age of 10, that decision, that commitment that I gave, made to Him, I think made a lot of difference in my life, whether it was to do with other decisions that I had to make in life and prioritizing and everything else.
Yeah. So those values that you've learned, do you find them still relevant? Do you use them in the application of your, work even now?
Yeah, definitely. So it was very useful because most of those values are based on your faith. You're talking in terms of a God who loves you so much, a God who forgave you for whatever you've done.
Yeah.
And also, this faith also teaches you so much about brotherhood. It teaches you also so much about servanthood. So I think these are the things that were so much imbibed in me, these values that were there. And also growing up all the time, I studied in a Christian institution also. So the values there also were so similar. So I think both of them really molded to a great extent my whole life.
Yeah. You said that most of your education was in Christian institutions, right?
Yes.
And even the college that you're working in is based on the Christian
Yes.
values?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know because education and the religion and faith are two different topics, entities, right? And the college that you're working in has students from different faiths.
Yes.
How do you ensure that the faith is not extended beyond boundaries?
Yeah, that's so true. Like I told you, I studied in the same school and college where I teach now. So it was St. Francis for me all the way. Maybe I was just away from school, from St. Francis, that tag of St. Francis, only when I went to do my post-graduation in Central University. Otherwise, throughout till graduation, I studied in the same college. And then I came back again to teach once I finished that. So it was such a long, time that I was there with those values that were there. And I always grew up in an environment where, of course, the institution believed in Christian values, and we lived in a family that had Christian values. But we had a majority of the people that were there around us from a different faith. So I think this pluralistic society that you're living in also teaches you a lot of lessons, that it's not so much about pushing your faith, or it's not so much about, talking about it from rooftop, but it should become your lifestyle. I think that is something that I learned very early. That also I saw it in my mentors. I saw it in the people who are running the institution. I saw it even in my family. I saw it in my church. And so I believe that it's not so much about speaking your faith, but living your faith. And I think that really helps in an environment where not everyone belongs to the faith that you practice.
Can I know a little bit about your parents? Yeah, like you said that your dad worked in the government, but about your mother, and how did they influence you as a person?
Yeah. So my dad, like I told you, he was holding a very responsible position in the customs and central excise. He was the assistant collector. My mom was a homemaker, but we really saw, I think they were such role models for us as we grew up, when we started our family also, the way they partnered together. My dad was the one, he was very actively involved in the Jesus Calls ministry. So he was the first representative of the Jesus Calls for Hyderabad. So that was many, many years ago. It must be in the 70s. And so when he would come back, there would be a lot of people who would be, today we are watching everything on YouTube and television. But those days, people would come and meet you in person. They want the prayer, their needs that they have, they place. And then there would be a lot of literature, and he would give them the literature to read. So there was a lot of time that he spent. And after he retired too, he had more time actually to... But I always saw that my mother was not like, she was not coming to the forefront and sitting along with him. But she did a lot of things behind. Like there was somebody who had to share something, and, they just broke down and they were, totally upset. That was when my mom would come in and she would prepare something for them and she would give them. They never really had any time for lunch, their regular lunch time. Sometimes I would see that they would eat lunch as late as 3 o'clock. But I never ever saw my mom complaining or, feeling that she's so stressed out. She was so much with him in that ministry. I think that had such an impact on my life, that when both of them gave themselves so much to each other, she knew he was so passionate about that ministry. And she could give all that she could, she gave it to them. So that was the atmosphere that we grew in. So watching them, I think that helped me a lot. When I joined the ministry along with my husband, when we joined church, we really don't know. When you join a ministry, you don't know what's in store for you. It's not just being a pastor, it's just not about preaching. It's so many other things that are involved. So I guess these are the values that we learned. That, we can't think of time, we can't really, have anything structured, but just allow God to lead you and He'll give you the grace.
Yeah. There are so many women who are highly qualified, but they're now homemakers, But it's not like they do not have it in them, right? Because the life around them demands it.
Yeah.
And also especially when the husband is in such a, position where he's always busy and somebody has to be at home and balance it out. There is this power play between the husband and wife. Have you ever seen that in your childhood? Or if you haven't, how do you think a couple can resolve those kind of things?
I didn't see it in my family because they worked very well, my mom and dad. But I have, as I was growing up, I have seen that because, I always ponder about this, that, we are always talking these days about empowerment of women.
Yeah.
We say, women have to be empowered. So the other day I was saying that probably, we empowered our women, but we really didn't teach the men to accept empowered women.
Yeah.
So sometimes the whole problem comes there. It's not that every woman who has a lot of qualifications should really go out and, head institutions or, be or hold some big titles. I don't believe in that. It's all about the choices they make. Maybe she could be very highly educated and yet choose to be a homemaker, and she might be doing a great job doing that. But I feel that it should be her choice.
Yeah.
And especially when you're talking in terms of marriage, there's one because as a pastor, both of us, we meet a lot of couples, and sometimes the challenges that they face. And one of the things that we see always is this question of insecurity.
Yeah.
It just comes, sometimes if the wife is very, very successful, will the husband be able to accept that? So I think there should be a lot of discussion that goes before marriage. It's not like, you don't just say that you'll cross the bridge when it comes. But
Yeah.
I think you'll have to, discuss a lot of things like how you're going to accept it, and, how you're going to work things out, because it's never easy when both are working. You can't, like, we were having a lot of discussion. We just finished a couples camp in church, and there were discussions on when both are working, when they come back, who makes the tea.
Yeah.
So, these may seem very trivial,
But
but
pile
they
up.
can trigger.
Yeah.
They can trigger a lot of things. So it's the mindset, it's the way you deal with it, it's the way you, ask for something and get it. These are all things that we need to cultivate. And I think it should just come, and you should make a conscious effort. It's not
Yeah.
like you just think that, okay, when it happens, let's see how it happens. So this is very, very important when you're talking, especially for a woman and her career, because for a man, it's accepted that he
Yeah.
has a job and he'll be out. But for a woman, there are many things that both of them have to decide on.
Yeah. So you're married to Dr. Joseph
Yes.
Christadoss, right? So can I know a little bit about him?
The best part is that both of us are in the same profession. He was also, a professor in English, and so ours was an arranged marriage. And he was very, very far off that time. He was in Assam. He was
Okay.
teaching there in a college there. He studied actually in Tamil Nadu, but he moved to Assam because he wanted some adventure. He's never been to all those places that were so far. So when this, marriage proposal had come, for me, one of the most important things was that, he was in the same profession. So we thought it'll be really good that, we both of us have so many things in common. And definitely it worked out very well, because we had so many things in common. We had things that we loved, sports. We watched hours together, even now cricket, because for both it's a great fascination. So things that are common, definitely they are good. But then he had to move from there, and he had to come and settle down here in Hyderabad. So it took a lot of adjustment for him, because he was already very well placed and settled there. So it took for us some years for him to, find the right break to settle down. But I think in those years, it's not easy, because that's one of the things that I would really, think of when young couples get married. We always tell them, marriage, when you talk of marriage, finances are a big, question where you need to discuss about those things, and your jobs, the time that you have for each other. So I think but for us, fortunately, I always feel when such challenges come, especially, where finances are concerned, or where you're struggling with your job, or, you dreamt of something and it really didn't happen the way you thought. When every couple that gets married, they have so many dreams.
Yeah.
And they think, okay, the first year we'll do this, and the second year we'll do this. It doesn't happen that way. And then what do you do? Like, do you become better or you become bitter? So I think that's the whole question. But fortunately for us, it was on that stage when, we were still not settled financially, still not settled, stabilized in our jobs. That's when we turned to God, and that made a lot of difference for us. Like, he taught us that very good lesson so early in our life, that our dependence should be on him. Our success doesn't depend on, how well we were doing in our jobs, or how well we were doing in our ministry, or how much of money we had in the bank. All those things didn't matter, but our joy and contentment came from him. I think once we learned that lesson, Then so many other things followed, but we could handle all of them.
Yeah. So you told that he moved from Assam to Hyderabad. Was it just for the,
Yes.
like marriage?
Yes.
Wow. So not many do that, right? They generally expect
I
women
know.
to move. How did that turn out?
Yeah,
Was
so-
there any like confrontation, or was it so smooth? Because we hardly see men like that even until now.
I know. Yeah, that's what. So I'm really so thankful and grateful to him for that decision that he took. And I'm glad that it was taken as a family. Even his dad, he lost his mother when he was very young. So he and his dad had actually come at that time when they came to discuss. So the whole discussion was on, I was actually all ready to go. If I was
Okay.
to go to Assam, I thought I could also go and explore a new place I've not been to. His dad and everyone, they discussed that probably, it's always safer to be in Hyderabad and closer to even, his own home, which is in Tamil Nadu, which is just not too far away. And so those were some of the considerations that we had. And then Joseph decided that he would come here, and that's how he came.
Yeah. In which year did you get married?
In 1991, we got married. I was 25, he was 28.
Okay. So where did he work when he moved to Hyderabad?
He was working in Assam in a place called Dumduma in Dibrugarh. So he was teaching in a college there. The name of that college was also related to that place. It was called the Dumduma College. And so he was very, very happy. We see a lot of change in the values or the relationship between teacher and student in different parts of India.
Oh, wow.
Because he would always tell such interesting stories of, what it is to be a teacher in that town that he worked. It was a very nice college because 25 years later, both of us went to that college to, meet all his colleagues there. So that was very nostalgic for him and for him. And so he would say that a student, when he sees the teacher coming in the opposite direction, he doesn't even ride the cycle or the bike. He gets off till the teacher passes. So I think those were all very interesting things that we don't see in Hyderabad.
So both of you have done your doctoral studies
right,
after
definitely.
getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you balance the roles?
It is tough, very, very challenging because you're already doing a job. And being in academics is not easy because, many people say that it's nice because your timings are less compared to, corporate office. And then we have a lot of holidays. Everyone talks of summer vacation. But, a teacher's life doesn't end just there in that 5-6 hours. We come back, we have to prepare for the next day's lesson, or we are evaluating some papers. So that's the kind of lifestyle. And then and today, you can't think of being a teacher without pursuing research. And so I'm so glad that so early on we thought of all this, because today when the demands are so high for a PhD, today you can't imagine a teacher, not having a PhD if you're teaching in a college. But in the 90s when we started to work, it was not the requirement. If you had a post-graduation, you could be a college teacher. But I'm so glad that at that stage itself, we thought of it. In fact, before marriage itself, after I finished my MA and M.Phil, I had joined already St.Francis College. And that's when I registered for PhD.
Okay.
And I had just registered for PhD and then I got married. And Joseph had also registered in Dibrugarh University in the Northeast, and he was also teaching there. So he wound up actually, because it was very difficult for him to travel all the way. It's not like it's so easy today. We just fly to those places.
Yeah.
Those days it was very difficult to even go to those places. And so he thought that he would pursue this later. And so even my PhD also went literally to the back burner because, after marriage, I had 2 kids and they were all still very small and, bringing them up. So I actually really forgot about it. I didn't even bother to pursue it because everything was revolving around the kids, and they were also still so small, both of them. So one day I remember, I think the kids were still quite young. Maybe the older one was just about 5 years old. That's when Joseph asked me that question, what happened to your PhD? And then I really started to seriously think about it. Like, till then I never even bothered to think. It was already some 7 or 8 years had lapsed. And then I said, why not? Maybe I should just go back and look
Do
at,
it.
what's happening to my... So I
Yeah.
went back to the university. And then they told me that, we waited so long and so we couldn't hold on to that seat. And so you'll have to again re-register for your PhD. I had studied there, so they know me well, the professors. So they said, though you were doing so good, you still have to come back and follow all this. And they also told me that when you come for the interview, you will just be like any other candidate there. You'll have to
Okay.
speak. So they really, 45 minutes, they grilled me. They asked me a lot of questions to see whether I was still on course or whether I had digressed. Because I remember my professor, she was introducing me to the rest of the panel, saying that, after marriage, she digressed into marriage, but she's coming back to academics. So I remember I joined there. I was selected after that interview. And then I pursued. So I did it part-time PhD because I was already teaching here. So those 5 years were challenging, but I'm so grateful because if it was not for the help of my husband, I'm sure it wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
Because I had to go a lot for data collection. So those were the times he really took care of the kids. And but writing and all, it's not even like the way technology was so advanced at that time. When you're talking about 1999 and 2000, I finished my PhD in 2004. So we still did a lot of writing and then we had to get it done. So that work, most of the time I remember after the kids would go to sleep, I would begin and, sometimes work through the night. But I'm glad we made that effort and managed to get it done.
Yeah. So were you ever on leave?
No, I was never.
Wow. So how did you handle the infants and the career?
That's what I'm saying. So it's really God's grace and the support that I got from my husband and the kids too, I should say. Because, only thing my mom would always tell them that, you better behave well, don't trouble mommy because she's going to be a doctor. So they would always be scared whether, the syringe would come home. So they allowed me to do all that I should do.
Yeah. So you finished your MA and M.Phil and PhD, right? So after graduation, were you really interested in history and pursued it, or was it just to grow in the career?
Yeah, I was interested in history, and also I had, like I was telling you that, by then I had decided that I would go into teaching because I had some good role models also that were there in school, and the way they taught history, that also fascinated me because I see that many of them, they don't like history. I see the young students now, and when they have the choice, the first subject they're allowed to leave is history because for them, history is full of dates and history is full of names and you want to just do away. So you just want to do away with it. And, sometimes it pulls you down in your academics and you're wondering like, why should I study this at all? So I'm glad that there were people who really taught history so well. And so I had that great interest in that and I wanted to do that. So if I'm going to be a teacher, I always believed that I should, do my post-graduation. So I didn't think even once to take up any job after my graduation. So I was looking for, places where I could do my post-graduation. At that time, most of them did it in Osmania University. But then I'm so thankful. Like one of my friends, she suggested, why don't we apply in Central University, which is in Gachibowli. And those days, Gachibowli was like out of the world. And now if I look at the kind of development that has taken place that side, when we would go from Medipatnam by bus, it would be totally deserted. So not many people venture to go so far. But I'm so glad that I got so much of exposure, proper understanding of the subject, the perspective, everything in that place.
Yeah. There's a saying by George Bernard Shaw, right? This might be offensive, but I am asking. So there's a saying, those who can do and those who can't, they teach, basically undermining the profession of teaching. And also in India, teaching, although, there are a lot of role models, even I have some of my professors as my role models, but yet, although they play such a crucial role, that profession is still underpaid.
Yes.
Yeah. So What is your take on it?
Yeah, as far as the quote is concerned, I think it's not at all doing justice to the teaching community.
Okay.
Because there's being a teacher for so long, I really believe that I'm sure that many have chosen this profession for the passion that they have for teaching, and there's much more than what others see. Like probably they would think that, and all the more today, everyone says that what's there in teaching? Like you have everything on the internet, you have everything on Chat GPT will give you.
Yeah.
But I think the role of the teacher can never be undermined for me. Knowing, like being in this profession for more than 30 years, to be precise 35 years I completed, and so to looking at that, I feel that there is so much more teacher does for a student rather than just impart learning, because the kind of bond that we have with the students, when a student comes back after 10 years, they don't tell you what you taught them, but they'll tell you that that moment when I needed the most, you said these words to me, or you gave me that extra time, which I believe that, no teacher talks about. No teacher will brag about it. The teacher most of the time will talk about how proud she is of her student, but will not talk about, how great I am that I have, created this student. But I think that's something that only a teacher will understand, the kind of, the role that the teacher has in the life of the student. I guess that students will be able to, talk more about what the role of a teacher is.
Yeah. But also, especially after taking sabbatical leaves, or sometimes when a girl is not generally encouraged to, or when she's not finding a job that fits her schedule, they tell her to pursue a B.Ed, and otherwise also there are schools that do not, there are schools that accept teachers even without having a B.Ed, even until date, although that is a compulsory thing. So, I think that not all of them come purely because they love the profession, because for some of them it's just like a job that gives them income, So what about teachers like that? Do you think those teachers are really doing justice while teaching?
I guess that's a challenge in any profession. Like many times you choose a profession because you feel that, it's highly paid. Right. Many of them, I don't even want to name, like many of them choose certain sectors because they find that it's very highly, they
paying.
get a good, highly paying, and the remuneration is so high and so on. So I feel that even for a teacher, she looks at that profession. For some of them, they look at the profession as something that maybe suits their, like you said, their schedule, their lifestyle. They are coming home when their kids come home. So these are some of the things that we often hear about a teacher. So I feel that in every profession and in every card there could be bad apples. There will be definitely, but I think we should not judge any profession by the few people that are there. So that's why I feel that a profession like this, a teacher's profession or even a doctor, unless you have passion, unless you have love for your students, I don't think we can be effective teachers. But if they are still there, nobody can help it.
Has there ever been an instance where you had to let go of a teacher, for any reason? Mostly, I think because I'm talking about the incompetence. Okay, has there ever been a situation like that?
Yes.
And how did you handle it?
Yeah, it's very tough, because there's a lot of interpersonal relationship that's involved, and somebody has come there, they've chosen that as their job, and they have come there. And sometimes you feel very secure. Okay, if you've stayed on for 4 years or 5 years or even 10 years, you feel that you've made it and you're there. And it's at that time that, you have some problems that have risen. I have seen, even as a principal, some of these issues that have come up. Because today we call our students as the main stakeholders. And so we have to really look at, what they want, what they desire. So the feedback mechanism that we have at college is very strong. And so when we get this feedback, But it just doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like you talk to a teacher who's not performing well, who's not really lived up to the expectations. And so it's not like overnight you tell them that, okay, you have a bad feedback, so you have to go home. So we give them a lot of chances. You tell them that, you can definitely improve, or maybe you didn't even realize that these are some of the weaknesses that are there and you can set them right. And so some of them have improved. Some of them have made that extra effort, to put in more effort to probably learn their subject well, and or change their the relationship that they had with the students, their attitude that they had. So if you are ready, if you have room within you to change for the better, then definitely success is yours.
Yeah.
But for those who have persisted, yes, definitely after maybe 3 warnings, definitely they are asked to leave.
So has there been a situation like that?
Yes, there have been situations when they have been asked to leave after 3 warnings. So everybody knows, like, it's not like you just send them off immediately. And so they are counseled, because it's not easy for them to accept. Nobody ever accepts so easily that they have made a mistake. So a lot of sessions go with them to maybe tell them that they could probably choose another path, because it's very, very challenging to be a teacher today, because students are also very, very different now. So if
How
you
are
not
they? Different as in?
yeah, different in the sense, like their expectations are very high.
In terms of?
Yeah, in terms of whatever they want to expect from the teacher, like probably they will, where the quality of the teaching is concerned, or what the time the teacher has to give them, and so on. And today they are able to check everything. Like whatever the teacher teaches, they want to check whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the teacher also has a lot of expectation from the students. Many times they don't rise up to that expectation, but they have a lot of expectation. So it's not that every time there is some kind of a complaint that we immediately act on that. We also do a lot of research to see whether it's really true, because it could be for some other personal reason also somebody has said something. And then, but if it's really proved true, then definitely action is taken.
Yeah. You're the first layperson as a principal for St.Francis College for Women, right? How did that happen? Like what was the journey like?
So for me also it came as a surprise, because I was so much a part of the institution, and I was teaching there. Like I told you, I was a student, and then I was teaching there. But I was very actively involved in the life of the college. For me, it was my second home, because I gave my all to the college, and I had held a lot of positions even before. Like I was the youngest to be the controller of exams. So when they asked me to be the controller of exams, like it came as a surprise, not really to me but to everyone in the college. But then I was able to do that. They appointed me for 3 years, but then I went on for 7 years. They continued me, and then I was the coordinator of the internal quality assurance cell. And then I became the Dean of Academics. So that way I had a lot of administrative roles that were given to me. And I was very happy doing that and doing whatever they had asked me to do. But it was at the management level that, as an order, they are the Sisters of Charity. That's the order that our sisters belong to. So they had evolved a policy of lay partnership. So they said that it's not necessary that every time it is a religious alone who should head institutions. If you have someone, from your own, the faculty, lay people, and if they are committed and if they are qualified. So that was a policy change that took place at that time. That is 2 years ago.
In the college?
It's for the whole... They have... It's a huge community.
Sisters of Charity.
Yeah. So they have it at... their head office is at Italy.
Okay.
So it's there that they take their decisions.
Wow.
The major decisions,
Even for the institutes that are there in India.
There. They have a lot of education institutions, hospitals. They run other charitable institutions. So then they realized that for people who've been with them for many years, and so why not we do a lay partnership? So the mother provincial who is here in our province, so she wanted to try it at our college. And so she said that let's look for somebody who is able to fit into that position. And so that's how they offered that to me.
There was a article in the newspaper that I've read. So how did the students take it? How did your colleagues take it? Was there any confrontation, or was there any rumor saying that, okay, they just gave her the job because she worked for a very long time in the same institute, and also because of the faith? Were there any, like a talk? Was there a talk going like that?
I guess there must have been a lot. Anyway, I chose not to listen to most of the talk because I didn't know whether it was positive or whether it was negative. For me itself, it was like a big, surprise to me. But I believed, I asked when the Mother Provincial told me, and then we told her, she prayed with us, and then we told her that we will also pray and get back to you. So it's not that I just jumped at it. I wanted to also know if it was God's will. Everything that looks good, everything that's great is not God's will. So we prayed about it, and then we felt that peace. We felt that God was with us. So then we went back and told us. So once I felt that it was God who had, orchestrated this for me, I believe that, it's not like every time it's going to be easy. If once I have taken it up, it's just not that everything is going to fall perfectly in place.
Yeah.
And I guess that there must have been a lot of skepticism about, whether how am I going to fit in, because I'm not belonging to the religious. There were a lot of questions that people were asking whether the values would continue. See, their commitment level, like they stay there in the campus. All these principals who were there before me, the convent, they stay in the convent. And so, like, they are so much a part of it. I was coming, going like any other faculty member. So would I have the same level of commitment that the religious would have? And would my, the values that I stand for, and would it continue in the same way? So there were so many questions definitely that were there in their mind. But fortunately, I had to do a lot of things. It was not just I said, okay, it's given to me by God, so I just walk and not do anything about it. I worked very hard on it. Like, I took everyone along. Where, I was constantly consulting. We have the management team, so I worked along with them. There were other sisters who were there with me, who worked with me. That faculty, I took them along and consulted them. We took a lot of decisions together. It was not like you got a role and so, you were just using the whip. And then the students too. There were a lot of, I would often have meetings with them. And slowly they began to understand that, I would not harm any of their interests.
You're the first one to not stay within the campus then?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Then good, right? That's good or bad?
I don't know. Maybe for some reasons it could be good. For some reasons it could be bad.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that we work as a team. So we have a lot of the sisters who live in the convent who are also part. Like the vice principal is a sister,
I've read,
Dr. Sister Shirley. So she's there. So she will always stand in case, something happens on the campus later in the evening. She's always there. So we work as a team.
I mean, you said that you generally give 3 chances, right? Or a few chances before you let go of a teacher. But then you also told that there is a room for improvement and there are training or improvement programs.
Yes.
Teacher training programs are very essential, but not many schools and colleges have such kind of workshops being held. So do you think that is because they do not have the resources, or do you think that they believe that it is just like a waste of time? Or
what you're saying is so true. We are all the time racing against time because, for a teacher, most of the time it's like you have a syllabus and you have to complete that syllabus. So everybody is very conscious of the fact that you have to, meet that deadline of completing your syllabus. So you can't think of other things. But I think a college like ours is very, very particular about faculty development programs. So we call it as the FDPs that we have for the year.
Okay.
So we encourage them. Today, the University Grants Commission, the UGC that oversees the higher education system, they conduct a lot of these FDPs. They give the responsibility to universities to conduct. So sometimes it's a 21-day program, sometimes it's lesser time. So it's up to the management to release the staff because it's very difficult for them to send somebody away for so long. But fortunately, we follow that system where whenever there is a need, when there's a FDP program that's announced, whoever is can benefit from this, we send them. Yeah, and so they are also highly motivated. That's one of the best part of the faculty of our college. They are also highly motivated to work, and so if they go there, it doesn't mean that they, are disregarding their whole work here. So they ensure that they are able to manage both of them, or there's the other colleagues who help them. But that perspective totally changes when you attend these FDPs. So I believe that, it's so important for everyone to participate in these things, do research work. Research is an integral part of a teacher's life. You can't just be without doing research. Even now, with all the administrative work that I have, I ensure that I at least present one paper, research paper every year. So that really helps you, because you may just present a paper of 10 pages or 20 pages, but you've done so much of research, you've done so much of study. And I think that changes your whole perspective. So I believe that, these training classes or FDPs, whatever you name you give them, they're absolutely essential. And if some institute is thinking that it's waste of time, definitely it will show on their quality.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've read your note on the website, college website, principal's note. So you have covered holistically. You were talking about how to make students the integral part of the learning, to cover, the education and making it stay relevant to the current trends. I mean, this is not the exact words, but that's what is the meaning that conveyed. So I'm talking about in terms of co-curricular activity that you were talking about. Not many colleges have playgrounds, right? Your college has a playground,
Yes, it
right?
has.
Yeah.
We have a huge indoor stadium also.
Yeah.
So that really helps. And it's always like our whole motto is holistic education for the empowerment of women. That's the whole theme in which we work. So when we talk of holistic education, definitely we need to have co-curricular as well as extracurricular activities for them. And so under these, we do both. We do a lot of sports, and our girls really excel, both in national and international level. So we give them, and so we have a lot of concession for sports students. We don't allow them to go through the same process as the other students do. If you're an international sports student and you're hardly there in class, you give them all the concession that is required, whether in terms of attendance or conducting their exams later, or creating, an average of the marks of the test that they have done. So there's a lot of, encouragement that these students need. If you're going to put them through the same grind as the rest of the students and still tell them to get laurels for the college, it's not possible. So we believe that empowering them is to give them, because not everyone is going to excel in academics. There are students who've done so well in sports. And then another important area that we really speak about is community development, because most of them come from homes. I would say not most, 50% of them at least come from homes where they literally live in an ivory tower. They really don't know what reality outside is. They come from affluent homes where they don't know what is a need. So when we take them to, homes, when we take them to places, there's one day in our college which we call it a social outreach day. So the entire college is out. They have to choose one home and go. So that's when they see reality. And that's when they begin to, understand that what is life outside. And so we want to give them all these experiences so that they can choose. There are girls who've gone out of our college and have started NGOs just because of that one day that they went somewhere and they, saw a need that was there.
It is called, it has a name, right?
Dan Utsav, we call it. And Social Outreach Day, we call it. So they go.
Is it a part of this NSW?
That is NSS that they have. Yes. National Social Service, that there is one group of students who have to opt. All the students of the college have to either choose NSS, NCC or sports. So they, according to their interest, they choose. Other than this, otherwise what will happen, all the outreach work will be done only by the NSS students. But we somehow want to give everyone, an opportunity to just go that one day and see what life outside is, how they can be of help. I remember taking them once even to the second chance, and they were in tears. They said, we've never seen that, we never knew that people are like this, and there's somebody who could give them so much love. We've only seen love within families. We've not seen somebody who's gone out to show so much love out to somebody whom they don't even know. So that is the experience that we really want to give our students. So we give them a lot of opportunities so that they can really understand what their calling is, what they need to do when they step out of the college.
What's your opinion regarding the colleges and the schools that do not have any ground, like playground or any co-curricular activities? You were also talking about UGC, right?
Yes,
UGC net is a compulsory eligibility criteria that is seen.
Yeah.
But many colleges also have teachers who do not fall under this. I mean, who do not satisfy this criteria, right? So these two aspects, does it influence the quality of education?
Definitely it does. Because that's the reason why, when we go through the accreditation process, you will see that only certain colleges have stood out and certain colleges have not. If you see some of the rankings that we have, one of the rankings that all India rankings, that NIRF that we have, ours was the only college that ranked among the 100 in the country.
Yeah, I've read,
So for that, you really have to make that effort. So obviously, these are the things like you so rightly pointed out. One is definitely the quality of the teachers. Like when you insist on them doing research, when you insist, if they've passed this NET exam or the SLET exam, that means they have a grip of their subject. Because for a teacher, if the students will immediately find out if you don't have enough knowledge. Whatever, you may be having the greatest skill of teaching, of talking, but then the student will find out if you don't have that, because you don't know when you walk into a class and you teach, you don't know what question the student is going to ask you. So that's the reason why you need to update yourself so much. I'm telling you, a subject like mine, history, there is so much of change that has happened, the theories that have come in, the use of technology in our subject. So if I'm going to teach history the way I taught, when I joined this college, it's just not going to work out. It's not going to help me at all. So I have to upgrade myself. So that's one of the things that you rightly said. The other is infrastructure, because it's so important for them. How do you talk about, all-round growth if you're not providing them the facility? We give them an excellent library facility also, where they can just go, sit down, read a book of their choice and spend some time there. So these are things that are absolutely essential. And if institutes are not following that, it shows it. It also depends, I feel, on students. Some of them just want a degree. If they just want a degree, they may be wanting to just take that and, not pursue anything else after that. So probably such institutes would help them.
So coming to that point, right? There is always, in India, or I don't know whether it is in South India or whatever, most of the people, for them, there are only two professions, engineering and medicine, right? And then, like you said, for few, it is just, they study just for the sake of degree. And for some, it is because, in that matrimonial column, the guy will look for at least a graduate, right? I mean, don't you agree?
Okay, yes.
I mean, I have seen my friends who have studied just for the sake of degree. And they are not doing anything about it. And not that, I'm not talking about the ones who want to work and they're not working because of commitments. I'm literally talking about, I've seen in my circle, there are people who have studied just for the sake of degree, and when we ask, or when I asked, why don't you give your best, their answer would be, I mean, it was not going to do anything, so I just wanted to know, so do you think the people who are joining in degree colleges, not in the engineering, or do you really think that they're joining for the sake of the love for the subject, or it's like the easy way out?
I think now the trend has changed a lot. Like what you say, definitely like you have so many different markets, you have marriage market also. So maybe some of the girls would want to qualify for that marriage market. But today I see the trend is very different. Like all of them, they don't want to, even if they are not even going to pursue a career, they still want to have a degree for whatever reason. It may not just be for the sake of, finding a good life partner or whatever, but they want to have a good degree. So they are thinking in terms of how they can do. But most of them, I would say at least 70 to 80% of the students who come to our college itself, they are very serious, they are very clear about what they want. They are doing a lot of research, they are doing a lot of study to find out whether, why they want to take this course. Because we ask them sometimes, why did you choose this, or why don't you want to do this? And then they just start talking about all the opportunities that are there. So that makes us happy that they're just not coming in to just do a degree, but they're very clear about what they want, and I think that will really help them.
Yeah. You also have an entrepreneurship cell in the college, something
Yeah.
related to
Yes.
a cell that encourages women to become
Yes.
entrepreneurs.
We call
right?
it as the innovation hub,
Okay.
where all these budding entrepreneurs are there. So they could be anyone. They are not going to be some multinational companies or something like that who are spending so many dollars, but they can be just simple things that they have started off, and that has really helped the girls. So this innovation hub will, have these students who have started off anything. They are selling their products online. We give them opportunity once in 2 months to put up stalls here in the college. So that gives them the whole, idea about how they can do their business. Then we call successful entrepreneurs. So they have regular, sessions with them on how they can actually market their products well, how they can grow, or which are the areas that they can really grow. So this really helps them, because there are a lot of girls in our college who love to go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I've also read, the coffee.
Yeah, that is the Commerce Club.
Okay. So, how many clubs are there in St. Francis? Can I know? And how many departments are there in St. Francis?
So we have 28 departments in St. Francis. So we have all the three main courses. We have BSc, we have BA, we have BCom. We also have management, BMS, which is also a very popular course. We have a vocational course called BWalk. So we have so many students. We have nearly 4,000 students in the campus. Wow. So we have a lot of students with varied interests. So then we realized that earlier we would always do one festival for all the students. We would call it the student festival. But then we realized that each of them, their subjects, their interests are different when they pursue a particular subject. So that's when we came up. It was, I think, from 2001 that we started this concept of student clubs. And that became very, very interesting for them. It's not like when they come together also, it's related to their subject. But we are producing leaders, student leaders, because these clubs are totally manned by the students. The teachers are not involved at all. So they just give them some guidance. And so they organize their own programs. They organize whatever activities.
Do they raise funds?
They raise a lot of funds.
Okay.
Yes.
Outside the campus?
Yeah. All of that happens in the campus.
Okay.
So they put up a lot of food stalls. They, have a lot of other activities where they collect funds. But that's so useful because they have done a lot for themselves to help themselves. Sometimes the clubs do so well. They even, there was one particular club which, set up a computer lab too, with the funds that they got. So they were able to expand that help for their own students of commerce. They were able to build a lab for them. So, and now that we have adopted 5 villages in Sangareddy district, and so these clubs, they go. So they take turns to go, and they spend some money. They, have a program there for the people of that. According to their own subjects, they have been doing that. Some of the science departments go, they conduct health camps for them. And then they teach them about nutrition and they come back. The Commerce Club goes and they teach them about, how they can be little entrepreneurs. In fact, the last time they went, they bought one push cart for one of them. Wow. So he started selling something. He didn't have a single buyer's income. So then now they not only, gave him that push cart, they even gave him some money and gave him the idea of what to sell. And now he's very thrilled because the other day he called them and told he's making 500 rupees every day.
Wow.
So, that gives them great joy. And all these things, they really work it out among themselves. They do it. So we give them a lot of chance to grow.
Yeah. So you said that there were students who adopted 5 villages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a college, we adopted.
Okay.
But now we let the student clubs
As
go
a college,
to those.
as in the department?
Yeah. Actually, the government started this scheme. It's a central government scheme called Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So according to that scheme, every education institution was asked to adopt some villages. But in our college, they took it very seriously. Like many colleges, like, okay, we have to do it, and so you do it. But here, I'm so glad that they took it so seriously. So in Sangareddy district, they've adopted 5 villages. And so these 5 villages, they every month we have a program for them. And it's very interesting how the students are so, interested in going there. And they have seen what it is to be in want when they go there and see those children. They don't even have proper infrastructure. They go and see the schools there. In fact, the first 2 times that they went there, the children were all seated on the ground. They didn't have any infrastructure. So the third time we went, they took chairs for them. And the kids were so excited to sit on a chair that one of the kid was asking, can I take this chair home? Because I've never sat on a chair. So I think these are all great experiences that these students are having. And so this has really helped us, this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan too.
Yeah. So these are all a mandatory thing or just voluntary?
It's more voluntary, though it's initiated by the government. Every college takes it up. But how you do it and how effectively you do it is again in your hands.
Yeah.
You can still take, some villages and not do anything at all. Nobody will really question you about it. But once you do it seriously, their lives get transformed totally. We even did a medical camp for them in those villages. And they've identified one village. I was myself surprised to see that whole village is full of handicapped people. So it's called a village of handicap.
Oh my goodness.
And then you had, so they go there and so they help them with wheelchairs. They help them with, they had an eye camp for them because some of them are partially blind.
Yeah.
So a lot of things the students have taken initiative.
Oh, wow. So regarding the playground or the co-curricular activities that I'm talking about, so we discussed about UGC NET, but also isn't there any criteria like every college should have a playground? Isn't there any criteria given by the government like that?
Yeah, definitely. Because recently, this year only, we started MBA at our college. And then we saw, because when our college started in 1959, we were all not there to see what was the criteria and everything. But now, since we were there, it's very, very clear, the specifications that, you need to have the kind of infrastructure you have to have, the kind of land. Even they specify about the area that you need to have and so on. So I don't know how other institutes manage without all that.
Yeah. So you were, the coordinator for internal quality assurance cell, right? Or can you give us a little bit of information regarding that?
Yeah. So this is from when this accreditation started, which we call as NAC, when that body was instituted. It was in 1999 that they started this accrediting the colleges.
Okay.
And so they would come as a team from this body. UGC only constituted this. And then they would conduct a total inspection of different areas of aspects of life in college. And then they would grade us. So we were very happy that we were one of the first colleges to be chosen for, this inspection to take place. And we were accredited with the highest of 5 stars. That time they would give stars. So that was when they suggested that it came from the UGC that every college should have an internal quality assurance cell so that process is continuous. It's not like if we are accredited, we are accredited for 5 years. So it's not like at the end of the 5 years that we wake up and start getting everything ready for the next inspection. but how can we have it as a continuous process, this whole quality? And I think one of the most important things of internal quality assurance cell is that we are not just talking in terms of sustaining, but we are talking in terms of, enhancing quality. So that makes a lot of difference. It's not like, okay, we are just trying to see whether we are complying to whatever are the requisitions that are required, or are we really enhancing. So one of the most important roles of IQAC in a college is we set benchmarks for the different departments.
Okay. Like in your college?
In our college. Okay. Or it's expected of an IQAC college. In any college. But in our college, we take all those things very seriously. So the role of the IQAC coordinator is very important, because we will see the trends that are there around, and the trends as far as our collaborations with industry, collaborations with other institutes, and then we talk about how our every department should rise up and reach that benchmark. So in academics, we have benchmark. In research, we have benchmark. We have an infrastructure, student progression, and then governance. That's also important. Administration, in finance, how are we doing? And then what are our best practices? So these are the areas in which we set the benchmarks. And then we conduct, like even this morning we had a internal quality assurance cell meeting, where we have once a year we have external members who come. So they look at our we give them a report of all that we did this year, and then they talk to us about whether they are happy with it, or they could suggest some things to improve our quality, which are the areas we are strong, which are the areas we are we still need to strengthen. So I think it's an amazing process, this whole process of IQAC, where we are talking in terms of how we can not only assure but enhance quality.
Yeah. So the external person or the visit that you're talking about, I mean, external person visits the college, right?
Yeah, we create the team. Okay. Like we have one person of our own alumni. Okay. So that alumni comes back to see, like, okay, I've come back after 10 years. What's my college today? And she has gone out now. She's worked in an industry. Does she see a gap between what she studied and what she was expected to do in the industry? So she comes back with that very valuable inputs for us. Then we have somebody who's already in an industry, a CEO of a company comes. So he's also looking at, what does he want to see in our students when they pass out of the college. And then we have from the higher education, from the university, we have some people who come. And then we have people from other walks of life too. They have their own inputs that they can give us. Today we had somebody who came from, a health institute. And so she's talking about how they improve, the quality of life there in their institute. So it gives us a lot of perspective of how we can really grow.
Yeah. So this is what your college does. Yeah. So it's not like a mandatory thing given by the government, right? The visits from the alumni.
These are all guidelines that are given. Okay. So it's up to the college. So you can, by the outcomes that you see in every college, how much you have implemented all these.
Yeah. So you also gave a presentation to all the principals and IQAC coordinators, right, from Telangana. You were invited by the Commissioner of College Education. So can you tell me a little bit about that? How was it handling so many principals in one room?
That's true. I know that was a great experience. I was really nervous about what I would really tell them. But the Commissioner of College Education, she was very keen that, this kind of experiences that we have in our college should be shared with others. So it was more of a knowledge sharing with them, information sharing with them, telling them that what all has worked well with us in our college. But they have their own, maybe I would say that they have their own limitations. Maybe they don't have the kind of infrastructure that we have. They also talked about a lot of their challenges. Like they said that your students are so good, you take the cream of the society.
But is it so?
Yeah, but to a great extent, because the cutoff is high. We take a
Okay.
lot of students of merit, but since it's a minority institution, we also give good weightage to
Reservation.
minority students, reservation for them. We also take students of other backward castes. We allow them also to join. And then sports, we have a quota. But the merit students, we take it on the basis of merit, and the cutoff is very high.
And how much?
It depends on the subjects.
Okay.
Like it can be as high as like
8?
last time it was like 9.4 was the cutoff
Oh my goodness.
for BComs.
Oh my goodness. What is the limit of the strength? Like how many students do you have in college? You said 4,000,
Yeah,
right?
we have 4,000 students.
So-
So in BCom, each class, we have 5 streams of BCom. So in each stream, we have about 70 students that are there.
Okay.
So the maximum demand is for these courses, BCom, BMS.
Okay.
So there it's very higc. Of course, in BA and BSc it's lower because many of the students, they go away for professional courses, especially in science.
Yeah.
And so the ones who come here are fewer.
Yeah. What is the strength in each class?
It
Around,
depends again.
okay.
Like when we talk about commerce, they are all together as one class. But if it comes to BA and BSc, we have 3 subjects that combine together. For example, if it's BA, it'll be like psychology, English literature, and political science that will come
Okay.
together. So each of the subjects will have different number of students that are there. So like that, like the way I said, gave one example, we have about 8 combinations in BA. In science, we have 13 combinations. So each combination, the demand is different. And so we have to have at least in every combination 30 students.
Okay.
But we are able to fulfill that criteria.
Yeah. So there is this new thing, right? I mean, it's been few years, I guess. The choice-based selection system.
Yes, choice-based credit system.
Okay, choice-based
Yes.
credit system. So the students get to choose the subjects. Is it like
Yeah,
that?
it's like the students have more choice. It's not like they can just choose whatever they want, but definitely they have more choice. Now, this CBCS, as we call, was introduced in 2016.
Okay.
That was again an initiative that the government also took, the state government. The UGC proposed the CBCS much earlier.
Okay.
And so we are talking in terms of credit system. Always in India, it's for many, many years, we had only marks. We had grades, we had divisions.
Correct.
We didn't give them credits. But in our college, we always saw that quite a lot of students go abroad. And the foreign universities always talk in terms of credits.
Yes.
So I was controller of exams. That's when we saw that, when they go there and they show their mark sheets, they immediately tell them get it converted into credits
Yeah,
income.
CGPA.
Yeah, so CGPA plus also the credits. They want to know
Okay.
exactly. That's when we thought that why don't we also introduce credit. So our college introduced credit system much earlier. We introduced in 2004 itself.
Wow.
When hardly anybody spoke about credits. Of course, we did a lot of study and, it was a trial and error method. We had to learn to see how it works out. But the advantage of CBCS system is that we are giving the students more choice because there are core subjects that they have to study, but they also have electives. So when it comes to electives, they can choose a subject from another course also. And, many of them chose that as their career path, though that is just one paper. Their main subjects are something
Yeah.
so different. So definitely it has taught them that, there are so many other things that they can think of other than their own subjects.
Okay.
And then now there is so much of emphasis on skill enhancement.
Yeah.
Because today when we're talking in terms of, the market value of your degree and so on, everybody's talking about.
You also lecture at Shenandoah University?
Yes, I went there for a guest lecture there.
Yeah. When did this happen?
Just before COVID, it was in 2019.
Okay.
So they had, we already met those professors. 2 of the professors from Shenandoah University were postdoc professors.
Okay.
And they wanted to come to India to, study and teach history. And I think the other person was on journalism. And so they were in Central University. And since we had good contacts with Central University, usually all these things happen at the university level. There's exchanges and other things. It doesn't come down so much to our undergraduate colleges and so on.
Okay.
But since we had good connections with the university, so one of the professors from the university asked me whether I would like to, host two of the professors of history in our department for a week. So we put her up. We have guest rooms in our college. So we put them up there. And they lectured for the whole week to our students, and they gave them a nice new perspective of history and how they teach history there and so on. So they were the ones who invited me after they went back there, and they spoke about their experience. And then they said, why don't you come and share the experience of what it is to be an Indian educator?
Okay.
And so that was a great experience for me. And it was in the month of March. So it was a women's month. So they wanted me to speak about the position of women. So we had very good interaction, and they were themselves surprised because after that session, the press was there to interview. So there is a full-fledged, press coverage with the whole video was there next day. In all the local TV stations had relayed it. So that was a good thing that happened in that year where I went there. But it's continuing, like. Of course, I didn't go after that because after that we had COVID and then we came back here. And
so how was the experience? Was there a culture shock, or did you see any difference?
So definitely there was a lot of difference that I could see. The number of students.
Okay.
We have such huge classrooms here. But then there are hardly like 7 or 8 of them. And even the interaction, I think in our Indian culture, the teacher-student relationship is very different. It's very sacred and
personal.
Yeah, very sacred, personal. Yes, definitely. And maybe because we are also bigger classrooms, so the kind of interaction that we have, sometimes it's more formal also in the Indian setup, because we are addressing so many students, 60, 70 students at one time. But there I felt that it was more informal. Like, you had 6 or 7 students sitting in a classroom. And so it's like the teacher doesn't expect them to sit straight or to sit and listen attentively. There are students who were, busy with their own gadgets. They were busy with whatever they were doing. But they were, allowed to do that. Maybe we wouldn't allow that in our classes.
Yeah, but still the students do it right under the bench.
They do it.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
Yeah. So that was but it's not that they were careless, because ultimately at the end they are very actively participating in all the discussions and so on. But I guess it's more manageable because the class is so small, and they are able to do a lot of more things with them, practical things that you can do with them. Like for us, if we have to think of a field trip, or you think of something that's out of the classroom, it involves a lot of logistics. But I think for them it works out easier.
You have authored 5 books and published more than or nearly 30 research papers, right?
Yes.
And you're also you've done your research project in Loyola College, Chennai, and also postdoctoral fellow from Loyola College, Chennai. So was it costly for you too? Expensive?
Yes, definitely it was.
So how, and this was while working, right?
Yeah, while working. So fortunately, like I told you, that because my salary was always good, because it was from the government, UGC scales are good for the teachers. We earn a good salary. So I guess to a great extent it helped me. Of course, for my postdoctoral, I did get some scholarship from Loyola to do that course. And so it was not really so expensive, but definitely it's very costly to do research.
Yeah. And coming to Sisters of Charity, do Sisters of Charity only run women colleges for women, or are there even colleges?
In fact, ours is the only college that's run by them. All other institutions are only schools.
Okay.
But they're all for women. Most of their institutions are all for women.
So there are a couple of colleges that have men also?
No colleges at all. In fact, they have their Sisters of Charity run different institutions in 5 continents.
Okay.
But in all the 5 continents, ours is the only college. That's so unique.
Wow.
But they have a lot of schools that they run. But all the schools, at least as far as I know, they are all for girls. But of course, hospitals are run. That's for everyone. Even the Vijay Mari Hospital that's in Khairatabad is run by them.
So I want to talk about the books that you've written. Yeah. So have you always been a writer, or is it because you have a degree in history that, you were able to write?
I don't know. For me, it was more need-based. It was not like I had a passion for writing, so I wrote. So it was always the need that was there. Like when I wrote my first book, It was India a Kaleidoscope. And that was actually when one day I remember our students had done different projects on different topics in Indian history. And we had actually exhibited them. And the then principal of our college at that time, this was many years ago, and she said, why don't you put down all this? There's so much information that's there. It'll just remain in the charts and it'll just go away. But if only you could just put it down in a book, and so many people will benefit from it. That's when I thought that, okay, why not share this information with others? Otherwise, only it's our students of history who are learning all this. So I put down this title, India a Kaleidoscope, and just the broad view of what India is to a lay person who doesn't really study history but who has to know about what it is. And I think that really did well. I didn't even go for any publisher. I just published it. Our college itself published that book, and but we gave it away to everyone who we thought would really benefit from this book. We still make copies of that book and give others. Then when I did my Ph.D., I did it on on Hyderabad joining the Indian Union. That was my topic. In 1947, when India was declared independent, Nizam of Hyderabad refused to join the Indian Union. He wanted to stay separate.
Yes.
So my whole thesis is on that. Like how, what were the forces working on the Nizam? Why didn't he want to join?
Even the Kashmir's Nizam
Yeah, the
refused to
Kashmir
join.
and also Junagadh. These were the three states that refused to join. So in Hyderabad, what happened really, and finally in 1948, the Indian government had to bring the army and annex Hyderabad and make it a part of the Indian Union. So which were the forces at work at that time? So it was that which I did. So when I had presented it for my PhD Viva, when I presented it during that time, for 1 hour I did a presentation, and then there was a lot of discussion by the examiner. So one of them suggested to me, saying that it's so interesting, everybody should know what happened to Hyderabad, and what was actually the inside story of. We usually say that Nizam didn't want to join, and so the Indian army came and attacked, but what really was the inside story, what was happening in Hyderabad? I think this everyone should know. It's not just a student of history. And I'm so grateful to that professor. He was not even my research guide, but he, in fact, connected me to one of the very popular publishers, black and white publishers in Delhi. And he told them that this, thesis is there. And they contacted me, and they told me that they are ready to publish it. So that's how I published my book.
Nice.
So accession of Hyderabad to the Indian Union, the inside story. And then the publisher told me, he, after many years, when Telangana state was formed, when the state was formed in 2014, that time he said that he called me and he told me that there's such a great craze for knowing about the history of Telangana, because suddenly everybody is wondering what is this whole thing about Andhra and Telangana separating, and what really was the history behind the whole thing. So he said there's such a great demand for your book, it's all sold out and we are reprinting it.
Nice.
And I really felt so happy hearing that. So that was the reason why I wrote that book. The other two books are mostly for value education. Like we have value education in our college. And so I realized that most of the time, many people would ask, what do you have to teach in this value education class? What do you talk to them for 45 minutes? So we made books which, the teacher can use as a tool to talk to the students and then to have a little exercise with them. So that really helped to talk about different concepts, different ideas, different values that they can talk about. But the last book that I wrote was much later, after Telangana state was formed. That's when the students were starting to write this Group 1 exams and other things. So for that, they needed to have Telangana history. And there was no proper book on Telangana history, because most of the history was combined, both Andhra and Telangana history.
True.
And very little was written about Telangana history. So that's when one publisher came and asked me that they would collaborate with me to bring out an exclusive book on Telangana. So that's how my fifth book was on that.
So I was actually talking to someone recently who was preparing for Group 1, Group 2. And groups exams, right?
yeah.
So it's been a long time since we had groups exams in Hyderabad, and she was actually one of the subjects is regarding Hyderabad, history of Hyderabad and Telangana. So she was telling me that very less material was there in that subject, just Telugu Academy and few other things, you know. But when it comes to history of India, you know, there is this historian who wrote, history scholar who wrote Modern History of India, India
Sumit
before,
Sarkar,
correct, India before independence and since independence. Yeah. So why is that there is still a course, you know, undergraduate course or graduate course in history, but still there are not many scholars or historians, do we call them historians?
Yeah, that's true. Historians who write,
So why is that? I mean, is there a gap? Does it mean that the undergraduate courses are not offering enough knowledge for them to write any books? Like,
I know. The thing is that there's something called national history and regional history.
Okay.
So when when British were ruling over India, there was so much that was happening in our regional areas, but the focus was on freedom struggle because, you know, the whole focus is on India ruled by the British. And so all our histories focused on that. So if you see right up to 1947, we are talking so much about the 200 period is basically on the major movements that happened in India. Or our focus is on kingdoms that came. Like what were the kingdoms that ruled over major part of India? For example, the Mughals, they ruled over the entire part of India. So we have a lot of history of the Mughals. Also, one of the interesting things about the Mughal history and the Delhi Sultanate that was there before them, Muslim rulers had very good historians. So they would, have a person who recorded everything that happened every day in the kingdom. So we have a lot of abundance of material that is available of that period. But we were always very poor record keepers as far as our own indigenous rulers were concerned. So most of the time we have to rely on maybe, the songs that were sung about that place.
The folklore.
Or, the folklore or, even the architectural remains that are there. You go to a monument, you go to a fort and you try to understand what was there. Or you look at a structure, you look at sculpture and you understand, what was the position of women at that time from the kind of sculptures that was there. So we have to deduce so many things. And not many people would go to that extent. When you don't have any material that is there, it's very difficult to, understand and write about that place. But when you have abundance of material, it's very easy to write.
Yeah.
Same thing, British history. You have some of the best books written on Indian history is by British historians.
Yeah.
And they all had a lot of British, they had archives. And so that was very, very helpful for them.
But isn't it ironic because we have so many historical places and that means there are so many historical prominent events that happened, right? Significant events.
That's true.
So how come, I'm just asking as a layman. So there are never any manuscripts or things like that related to...
For some of them, no, not at all. So it's very, very difficult. Recently, I wrote a paper on, the Ratchakunda fort.
Okay.
That's just about, 3 hours drive from Hyderabad. But how many people go to Ratchakunda and, how those people, when everyone has heard about the Kakatiyas who ruled over Warangal. But when the Kakatiya Empire declined, what was happening in this entire region? It was these Velamas that were there of this region, Ratchakunda, who, saved this entire place. There was huge kingdoms that were there like Bahmanis, Vijayanagar Empire. But this small group of people built this fort and they kept this place intact. How many people know about them? Because they did all that, but they didn't leave anything behind.
Yeah.
There's hardly any record that says. So from a lot of folklores and other things that are available, because when we went there to study, you'll be amazed to see that, there are caves that are there in that place. Rock formations and caves that are there, which has paintings of prehistoric period. And so that's so valuable for a historian. Like for us, it's like, I would say it's like a gold mine. But for anybody else, it's one dilapidated structure.
Yeah. You're also a member of Board of Studies History Department OU, right? So what is that? Can you give us a little bit of insight into it?
So that's a great honor to be a part of the Board of Studies, because that is the board that formalizes the whole syllabus for the students of all the colleges in the whole state.
Wow.
And so we sit down every time there is a restructuring that happens every 3 years. So
Of the syllabus?
Of the syllabus.
Okay.
So we sit down and we first of all review like how it has been and what are the things that have been good, what are the things that can be added, based on whatever the requirements that are there around. And based on that, we discuss and then formulate the new syllabus, which is followed by all the colleges.
Yeah. So do you also have a department that proofreads or does evaluation when you come up with syllabus like this?
Yes. It's a huge process that goes on.
Okay.
At the university level also, they'll first, after we sit down like this and, a few people get together, they first of all, we take a lot of feedback from all the people who are teaching that subject. And then once this is done, again, it goes back to them. They give their feedback. Sometimes it's good, and so we change some of the things that are there. And then it goes through a whole process. In university level, it has to go through the Senate. And only if it's approved, then it will go through.
Okay.
But the same process is replicated even in our college level, because we are an autonomous college. So we have the option to have a structure of our own, but it should be approved by the representatives of Osmania University. So we also go through the process.
Okay.
Every department in our college has to go through the Board of Studies. And then it passes through the academic council.
Oh, wow. Such a long process,
it's
right?
a huge process.
Yeah.
Because it's about the future and of the students.
But it happens once in 3 years.
It happens once in 3 years.
Yeah. You're also a subject expert in EMMRC Osmania.
Yes.
So is it subject expert or subject matter expert?
It's subject expert because we do a lot of video lessons. So they have this department in Osmania University. They are called experts from different subject experts.
Multimedia research.
Yeah, it's multimedia research. So what they do is they give us, they ask us to choose. They give us an area, and they tell us to choose the topic.
Okay.
So we prepare our session, like 45 minutes lecture I have to prepare. So I prepare, it's like a whole capsule. So you prepare a lesson and then you deliver that, and then you prepare a PPT so they can show it when I'm speaking. And we also have assignments for them. So it's a whole, like a unit for them. So this is, aired in all over India actually.
Yeah.
So
I was coming to that.
Yeah. So what happens is like not everyone gets access to good teachers all over. That's their whole aim of the government. This is also a government project. So you suddenly see, like my cousin was telling me years ago, she said, she went to some district, remote area in Tamil Nadu, and they were watching in TV and she saw me there. And they're watching that lesson which I taught. So she said, imagine you will never go to that place, but your lesson has gone there.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
So does this come under distance learning or?
Yeah, it is to a great extent like distance learning, but it's not like, it's more like a guest lecture. It's not like the whole syllabus is there in that.
Yeah.
When you come to distance learning, they sit remote anywhere, but they have the whole material for that course.
Okay.
So we are not providing the entire course, but different important topics that are there.
Okay. So you also contribute to E-Pathshala, right? That is different and National TV
Those
is
are all different e-platforms that are there, called by different names.
Okay.
So now it's called E-Pathshala. So it's more like our accessibility, like to more places we are able to reach out.
So do these, it's a personal question, please don't answer if you don't want to. So do these things pay you?
Of course they do pay, but then it's very minimal. It's more out of the love for the subject.
Okay.
Like I feel so satisfied that somebody in some remote area is getting this information.
Yeah.
So it may be as low as, when I do a whole lesson, they'll give me something like 1,500. But most of the time I tell them to keep that for, their own program if it helps them in any way. But still, it's not so much about monetary benefits. It's more about your knowledge, your information that you have. You're sharing it, knowledge sharing it is.
Okay, yeah. So the next question that I'm going to ask is not about history. It's generally opinion based. So these days there are so many hybrid learning programs, online learning programs offered by some prestigious colleges, starting from Harvard, Stanford, ISB and whatnot. What is your opinion regarding that? Do you think it is affecting the in-person learning? Does it hold any value, or do you think this in-person classes are losing its relevance?
It holds value. I wouldn't say that it doesn't hold any value, but I think we got this whole concept of hybrid learning after the COVID time, because before that, not many of them did that, except of course these top institutes that you're talking about. But many times the question is asked like, will traditional learning be replaced by this kind of online and hybrid learning? My answer would definitely be no, because there is great advantage for traditional learning. Of course, it helps somebody who is almost finished education to a certain extent. For example, today we have business MBAs that are there, so you're already into the corporate sector, you're already working, and you just want to sharpen your skills a little more, and so that helps you because you have a job to hold on to, and you're still talking in terms of upgrading yourself. So there I would say, but not for a student where a teacher is not just required to give some knowledge. A teacher becomes the mentor for that student. You won't even understand the role of a teacher, what all we have to go through, what we listen to them. There are so many things that they open up, they talk. So how would you do all that in an online class? I was just thinking about, what are all the things they would miss out if they are having an online class. They cannot have a student club. You cannot be sitting in different parts of the country and have a student club.
Group discussions.
Yeah, you can't have even
friendships.
They may have a group discussion too online, but then it's nothing like, sitting together in a group and talking to each other. What about the student festivals that they have when they all gather in the campus and they have a great time? They put up stalls and they have a dance at the end of it all. So you can't really do all these things. Then our whole curriculum, major part of it is also to do with, we take them on study trips. We take them to field trips. Like especially students of history, we've taken them to so many places of historical importance. How do you take them, when you're doing this online thing? At the most, you can show them pictures of all these places. But there's nothing like going to that place. I've taken my students to so many historical places all over India. And 10 years later, I see them, wherever I go, I see my students somewhere or the other.
Yeah.
And the first thing they say is, I remember the trip we made together there. So see, they don't remember what I taught them in class, but they remember that trip. So it's so important for them, the memories that they have, the learnings that they have. So I don't think traditional learning can be totally, replaced by that. But at the same time, I want to really add that traditional learning will not continue as it is. We have also evolved a lot, because we have also now introduced a lot of hybrid learning, because we see that there is a lot of advantage. For example, we have a lot of MOUs with foreign universities, and there are great experts in certain subjects, but I cannot afford to get all those professors here to my college. So I arrange a video conference with him. And so definitely we all have to move on. We have to do all these things. So we get him and he lectures our students. There's a great interaction that takes place. So I cannot say that just 30 years ago, how I came to class, I taught, I'm going to continue that way. Sometimes we record our class when many of the girls are not there, and then they play that, later on. So we have to evolve. I think if we can evolve, nothing like it.
Don't you think these degrees that, like history or any other subjects, like literature, not literature, I think mostly history. Literature also there are, as long as there are writers and fiction and non-fiction. Don't you think they're becoming obsolete, these subjects?
I wouldn't say obsolete. Definitely, maybe if you're talking in terms of them, taking up a skill-based job or something like that, you would say like, how would a person who's learned history do that? But the whole subject of history is not about just learning about kings and dates. It's about the meaning of the word history is actually it's from the Greek word historia, which is learning by inquiry. Many of them think history means his story. That's how they interpret history.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So history is from the Greek word historia, which
Okay.
means learning by inquiry.
Okay.
So for you to understand your present, you have to have the knowledge of the past.
Okay.
Like today, when, for example, like I'm coming back to the example of the Telangana movement. When this movement took place, like, everybody started asking so many questions. They said like, why is it happening so suddenly? And why is it that suddenly everybody's asking for a separate Telangana state? Did we, live together for so many years and so on? But if you knew history, you wouldn't ask that question. Because even when, India got her independence, there was a movement for separation of, Telangana and Andhra.
Okay.
But they signed an agreement called Gentleman's Agreement, where they said that, we have to follow these things so that both of them would live at peace, whether people of Andhra coming here or Telangana going there. But a lot of the things that were decided in the Gentleman's Agreement was not followed.
Okay.
And that's how the whole issue came up. And we had so many struggles, which maybe that needs a whole new show to talk about the Telangana movement.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why knowledge of the past is so important to understand the present and to make, for the future, plans for the future, your knowledge of this. So I would say that it requires a lot of inquiry. It requires a lot of, understanding by research. So if you were to acquire these skills, that will definitely help you for any job that you go. Today, none of my students of history are without a job. You may say that, okay, other than teaching, where are they going to? They may not even choose history as, the domain that they are going to continue in. They may go to any other corporate office and work there. But the knowledge that they have acquired, the way they have acquired that knowledge, you look at what we are learning. You're learning success stories in history. Mm-hmm. You're talking about, people who failed. Those can be the, stories that can help you to make your decisions for the future. That's why somebody very correctly said, those who forget history are condemned to repeat it. So I believe that nobody can really forget the past.
Is that why history repeats?
That's because most people forget their history.
Yeah. So there are many universities that offer undergraduate degrees online. I'm pretty sure you know about it. Yeah. So, and yet they are placed, they get jobs. So, don't you think the hype about, traditional learning always will hold value, will not lose its relevance, is also obsolete because they are also getting placed?
That is, it depends on what is the purpose of your education. If you think that you're just getting education because you want some job, definitely you will get that kind of a job. But if you're thinking in terms of getting knowledge and then working towards, a job of that kind, then definitely I would still say that, just an online course. Even when we recruit teachers, we always ask them whether they have done it on is it a regular degree or is it online? Because we definitely know the difference between the two of them.
Okay.
And so I'm sure that definitely for certain jobs, we will not accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're also a resource person for different workshops, seminars that are held within India and also abroad, right? Can you give us a little bit of information regarding that?
Okay. So like I was telling you in the beginning of our conversation also that we have a lot of faculty development programs that teachers have to attend. So every college teacher, if she can equip herself by, attending these are all 21-day workshops. And so there's a lot of learning that happens because the resource person will give you the recent trends in your subject. Okay. Maybe you studied 20 years ago and you can't just be teaching what you studied 20 years ago. Yeah. You'll be amazed to know that even a subject like history, the approach to history is totally different today than what it was. Those days it was only like history from above. When I say 16th century, the only thing that will come to your mind is, okay, Akbar ruled over India in 16th. So that's history from above. We are only looking at the kings. But today we are looking at something called history from below. We're looking at in 16th century, what was the condition of, this particular tribal group in this particular area. We are looking at subaltern studies. So we are able to understand the country, the region better today. Just because, Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal in the 17th century, does it mean that India was very rich? Because he was one of the richest guys who could build that Taj Mahal. And so does that mean that India was rich? If you're only considering that particular period based on the construction of the Taj Mahal, then your whole perspective will be different.
Yeah.
So these are some of the interesting things that have come up in a subject like ours. So when I go as a resource person, these are the trends that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I'm invited to different places to speak about these things. So what are the recent trends? So I have to keep myself, first of all, updated about all the trends in the subject. So we have college teachers, like recently Central University invited me to, give a lecture.
Yeah.
And there were teachers that came from all over India. And so I spoke to them about the trends that are there in this subject. And so that's very, very, nice to see the kind of knowledge that you can impart. So I enjoy doing that.
Yeah. In 2016, you also received the Best Teacher Award by Government of Telangana, right? So how did that happen? Is there any eligibility criteria for that as well?
Yeah. In 2016, yes, they had the Commissioner of College Education. They are the ones who have actually a criteria. They have a form. It's a huge one. Like, it has some hundreds of questions, which they ask you to fill up actually. So they send it to the principal of the college. So the principal decides, like, from your college, like whoever is 2 or 3 of them, because there are so many teachers. Like in our college, we have nearly 200 teachers that are there. So who are the people who can apply for that? So in 2016, the principal offered that to me, asking me to fill up that form. So hundreds and thousands of teachers from all over the state will fill up. And so then they go through the entire criteria and they mark you for each of the answers. And we have to give a lot of supporting documents.
But I heard that, I'm not talking about you in particular, but I heard that some people even buy it.
I don't know. This award is very difficult to buy.
Okay. I think that is some other award.
No, but there are a lot of awards.
That can be bought.
That lots of awards. This is a state award, so it has to be very transparent because the scores are all marked and everything is transparent. No. I'm very clear about what you are saying. But I know that today we have a lot of awards. Like even I keep getting emails like you're chosen as the best teacher in history, and then please attend this conference, but pay 15,000 for registration. So that is for that award. So I never go for such awards.
Okay. Now we'll talk about the ministry. So you're also a pastor at New Life Assembly of God Church for the Carecells, right? Can you give us a little bit information regarding what is a Carecell and what's your role? Yeah.
This journey in the Carecell ministry has been very, very fulfilling for both me and my husband, because when we joined this church, we joined it around 1994. And then it was in 1996 that, we were not at all, we were not involved in anything of the church. We were very quiet. We didn't know anybody in the church. And we would just come, sit, and we would go back. We just met the pastor of the church at that time, Pastor Earl Stubbs. Okay. We met him a couple of times, that's it. But in 1996, he came up to both of us and told us, I'm going to start the next training batch. And that was the 3rd batch, I think, that was starting. And today we have more than 40 batches that have passed out. And so he came and told us that, why don't you both come? And first we were so reluctant. We thought, would we be able to do it? But then we went for that course. It was a 20-day course spread over nearly more than a year.
Wow.
And then at the end of it, we started our Carecell at home. I think that was so life transforming for us. Because
What is a Carecell?
So the Carecell is this, a small group of people that meet in our homes, in the home of the leader. And it's a pretty informal setup, unlike in the church where we sit, very organized and we just listen to the message and we come back. But here in this group, we don't have anybody preaching at all. We have a good time of worship together, but then we have certain material that are given where it acts like a springboard for discussions.
Okay.
So it's all Bible-based discussions that we have. So everyone has a chance to speak. Anyone can ask any question, so nobody feels like is this a stupid question or is it a serious question or a good question. So it's because of the informal setup. People also feel free to ask, and that's the whole concept of the Christian life, that we build up our faith based on the Word of God, which happens really in these small groups. But what is beauty of these small groups is that they have grown so close to each other. They become like a family. We are always encouraging small groups, so they become so close. They're there for each other. It's almost like the early church model which talks about in Acts chapter 2, which says that they met in houses. They literally met every day, those the early church people, and they helped each other. In fact, if somebody was in need, they were even ready to sell their property to help them. So that's how the small group also begins to emerge. So we had a cell group in our home for 20 years. And that, I think that was what really changed our whole life. We learned about what is ministry. We learned about what is to give yourself, for the sake of God. So it's not about just preaching something and going back, but you're pouring yourself into the life of somebody else, and you're seeing lives transform. You're seeing miracles happen. You're seeing healing happen. And then you begin to see how God can work in you and through you. I think that built up our faith, and that made us realize that we can do much more for God. And then we started to move. Till in 2014, we were called to be care pastors. So that's how...
Was it a surprise?
Yes, it was, because we were helping, other than leading our own Carecell. Sometimes pastor, even those days, would tell my husband to, go and oversee some of the Carecels and come back. But that was all, not on a regular basis. But then Sister Stubbs came up and told us. Then we told her that we'll pray about it and come back and tell you. So we took 2 months, we prayed, and then we really got the confirmation that God was asking us to lead. And today it's so fulfilling to see more than 150 Carecels that are there in our church.
Wow. And they're located...
all over the city. So we have divided them into different zones, into divisions, so that, they are more organized, and they are also, they support each other too.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you balance all these things? You are into too many things on the plate, right? So how do you balance? Do you think you're able to do justice to both your profession and the ministry?
I would think sometimes it is overwhelming to think that, you have to do so many things. You have, a very responsible position here at college, and then you have the ministry. But I believe that I'm not doing it really in my own strength. And I also have learned a lot to prioritize, to see that, it's not just my college and the ministry. I have a family, and I need to have my own time. So my space. So when I started to think of all these things, we worked it out. We have to work out all those things.
Okay.
And so you have when you have a good support system, when you have good friends, when you have good mentors, and then you fall back on all these support systems that are there, a family, a spouse that is so supporting. So I think these are the things that have helped me. And of course, the faith and trust in God.
Yeah. You're blessed with 2 daughters, right? Were you both were working, right? So do you think you guys as parents given enough care and focus and attention to your children as much as you have given to your students in the college? Do you think, did you do, do you think you could have done better in your college or in the college or at home? Any room for improvement did you feel?
Maybe you always feel you could do better. That definitely I will say. But then maybe to a great extent, yes, we did justice because we keep asking our children to, and based on what they say, I think we didn't neglect them at any time. And fortunately, because of the timings also, we were not staying away very many hours away from home when they came back. So most of the time, one of the things that we learned is to not to bring work home. So, you don't get, you don't fret, fume and about everything that happened
But
at
that's not
work.
possible in teaching, right?
Yeah, in teaching in the sense like work home in the sense like you, suppose you've had a bad day, you can't
Okay,
just
okay.
bring everything that you had there home.
And
So
vent
you
it.
managed, you went it. So you managed to enjoy the present
Okay.
that you definitely the work and other things are there like your evaluation, preparation,
Yeah.
all those things are there. But we learned to prioritize to a great extent the
Yeah.
family time that we had. I think those are beautiful memories that we cherish now that we are living in the empty nest stage. So we
Yeah.
live more in the memories of all the good times we had together.
You're coping.
Yes, so that's our coping mechanism. Initially, yes, we really miss them so much. But now, of course, the ministry and the job keeps us very busy. But we always think of them. But we know that, they're happy and that keeps us happy.
Awesome. Do you think the Indian education system prioritizes marks over skills? Because there's a
Definitely.
lot of rote learning, right?
Yeah. Yes, definitely true. Because over a period of time, we have followed that system. So we believe still a lot in grades and how we perform in our final exam. So to a great extent, though we are making a lot of changes in the existing system itself, I wouldn't say that we are not having it. We are definitely, the system of memorizing and, doing all that is still there. But I would still say that we are also learning, how we can test the skills, how we can equip them for skills too in as far as education is concerned.
Yeah.
But the process is a little slow, but I believe it will happen.
Yeah. Do you think that's the reason why these international schools charge so much of fee? Because
Yeah.
the learning there is dynamic and it's not the same in the schools that are recognized by our government, by
Yes.
our Indian government.
Yeah, they charge high fees, so definitely their strength is also less. So
Yes.
they are able to do a lot of things, like I told you earlier also. The numbers matter so much in India because we have huge class students and we can't turn them away. So we have to have them in the, in some school or the other. So based on the numbers, definitely a lot of practical testing and, things like this are not possible. So we have to work out. Of course, in so many different ways, we are trying to work out to see how we can test their other skills and create greater opportunities for them. But like you said, that if the fees are very high, or obviously you're already eliminating so many of them. So you're
Yeah.
able to give that cream of the people, whatever kind of education that you want to.
Yeah. So shouldn't our education system also include that dynamic learning?
It should
Integrated
include
learning.
Yeah, integrated learning is very, very significant, and there are a lot of advantages of it. But like I told you already, that we in most of our schools and colleges we don't have that kind of infrastructure, and we don't have the kind of space, that we can give them, and the definitely numbers matter as far as all these things are concerned.
Yeah. So that means there's a lot of growth that needs to happen in Indian education system, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have a highly qualified teacher, but not so, in alignment in terms of the values that St. Francis has, and then you have a less qualified teacher, but aligned with the values that St. Francis has, whom would you pick?
I would say that I would definitely prefer someone who has more values that are aligned with the institute. Having said that, I would say that, I would not tell somebody who just aligns with the values but has no, much knowledge of the subject or leanings towards academic excellence to continue that way. I would believe that if someone is aligned to our values, they would be ready to, change and give their best. So taking somebody who has the values and then building them up, strengthening them, encouraging them to become good in academics is easier than getting somebody who is not aligned to the values.
Yeah. What was the toughest decision you've taken as a principal?
The toughest decision I have taken is, if I can think of, there are a lot of decisions that I can think of. Like I told you, we have a lot of courses, that are very popular, some courses that are not. And some of the courses that are not doing well. And, we also have to go by the needs of the students. So we have been eliminating some of the courses. We have been removing those courses. We are introducing new courses according to the trends that are there in academia. So one of the hardest part is when you are eliminating a courses that the faculty also goes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they are subject experts of that, and some of them have been with you for 10 years, 15 years, and then if that subject is not there in your college, what do you do with the teacher? So that is one of the hardest part.
So you do the firing process?
Yes, we have to do it. Yeah, but we have to do it very gently. We take them along. We explain to them the whole process. It's still painful, but
yeah. And are there moments when you felt lonely, because not every time will the entire staff be on the same page with the principal, right?
Definitely. I believe that as you climb up the ladder, the position there and the place there is a very lonely place. So I feel that, there'll be a lot of people who will be with you to suggest things for you. And suppose there is something that a decision that you have to take, there could be a lot of people who will suggest, who will, recommend a lot of things. But ultimately, it is you who implements it, and it is you who owns it. So whether it's good, I have to take the bouquets, I have to take the brickbats, and so it is sometimes you feel like there is everybody else is behind and you are there all by yourself. So that is one thing. And for me, I was a professor sitting along with the rest of them in the staff room having a good time, and suddenly I felt removed from there. And
you missed your friends?
Yes, of course. The first thing I missed was the lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
So when we all would sit together and have lunch. So I have my own lunchroom now. I eat all by myself. So though of course that is in the physical realm that you're talking about loneliness. So it's
even
very
mentally,
different.
if you have ever, were there any moments when you cried?
Yes, of course I have. Yeah.
Your principal cried.
Yeah, so I think that's quite normal because that's
the stress.
The stress, and you feel overwhelmed by some things. But I'm so glad about the support system that I have. So even though you feel that you have to finally own up for it, you know that there are so many people who support you. You have a spouse that prays for you and listens to you whenever you are have facing a challenging situation. You have mentors that are there with whom I talk to, I pray. And then above everything, I know that I'm never alone because that's what God promised. He said, I will never leave you.
Yeah. So we're talking about stress, right? Do you think the schools and colleges should also talk about mental health? Because we see so many suicides, students committing suicide because of not clearing an entrance exam. Although, there are so many celebrities talking about mental health and telling them that marks are not everything. So, yeah, your take on it. Do you think our Indian education system is doing enough to talk about this?
Yeah. Of late, of course, we are talking a lot about not only their academic, but their physical, their mental well-being and so on. But I still feel there's a lot to be done in this area because somehow to a great extent we feel that it's, their personal life and what they are dealing with, what they are coping with.
Parenting.
And most of the time, even the parents feel, the teachers also. And most of the time, we are not even seeing the signs of, mental ill health that a student is going through because we are so busy. Maybe the classes are big or you're preoccupied as a teacher with so many things. But if you really look deep within, there are these issues that the students face. You see a behavior of a student which is not really in line with what the rest of them are doing. It's not so much as so superficial as what she's doing. There's so much more into what she's going through. And so it requires a lot of time It requires a lot of patience to, understand this. And then there are many times I have seen in our own situation that child needs professional help. It's not like I'm being kind to her or I'm being good to her, I'm trying to help her. So if we can identify that and, give her the help that she needs is very, very important. I believe that mental health should be a top priority.
Yeah. What about teachers? Do they also go? Are there any incidents where, I mean, I've never read, but are there incidents where teachers are also going through mental health issues and have gone to extreme?
Like any other profession, yes, teachers, because teachers also go through a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Sometimes when a student comes and tells you what she's going through, it really depresses you too. And you sometimes feel you're so helpless, like you're not able to get that student out of that situation. So sometimes when you continuously hear all those things, like how sometimes a doctor feels that burnout, even in this profession there is a lot of burnout. There's the teachers whom I know who have gone through depression, and so it's very, very real.
Yeah. So there'll be times when teachers are also emotionally, physically drained out, but yet they have to attend.
Yes,
right?
they have to.
Yeah. So it is. These
That
things
is the
are not
part.
talked about when it
Yes.
comes to teaching.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. For a teacher, the students never expect a bad day.
That's it. We're done with our
Oh,
questions. We have. Oh my God, Auntie, when you said good, I should have feel good or bad that you're good. So you didn't enjoy the interview.
No,
Is that what
I
you're
did.
saying?
I did. You only should get bored. I was only talking.
Ready? Yeah. So this is called rapid fire. The answer should be rapid and full of fire. Full of fire. Yeah. And I know you're a teacher and I mean principal also since a long time. But your answers are supposed to be fun, okay?
What if I don't get a fun answer?
But we are still a very loving batch, so we are going to still give you the hamper. Okay. What's one memorable moment from your ministry that still makes you smile?
And I must say it in fast.
Okay, it's okay. You can take your time. but keep it short and rapid. You're actually taking so much of time for framing your answer. This is cheating. Yeah. One memorable moment from your ministry that still makes you smile.
Okay. During our discussion time, somebody asked me, like, I said they want to ask me a question. I said, what is it? And she said, can I eat halim?
Seriously? Oh my goodness. Yeah. If you could have dinner with any historical or biblical figure, who would it be?
Shah Jahan.
Really? Why? Because he married so many times and still built only one Taj Mahal.
Because he built Taj Mahal for his wife.
But so many wives, no? Yeah. So that's what I don't understand. How are you considered as the greatest lover when you have so many like
No,
wives?
but he loved only for one. He built Taj Mahal.
Okay, what's one book you could read over and over again?
The Bible.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say except Bible, yeah. One book that you could read over and over again.
Purpose-driven life.
Okay. Any historical book that you would love to read over and over again?
Historical book, yes. There's one book, History of India.
Okay.
By Percival Sphere. It's a beautiful book.
Okay. Yeah, if your daughters had to describe you in one word, what do you think they would say?
Funny.
Okay, what's one family tradition you absolutely love?
Going out on picnics.
Okay. If you were not in education, what career would you have pursued?
I can't imagine because I didn't think of any other career.
Wow, so you landed on your plan
Yes.
straight. Okay. What's one piece of advice you have given your daughters that you stand by?
To love God and to love their spouse.
If you could relive one day from your life, which day would it be?
That's a tough question.
But
To relive one day in your life.
But nothing should be tough for you because you're a principal of such a big college. Yeah.
Okay, the day I came back to my college as a lecturer.
Oh, wow. Did you cry that day by any chance?
No, I didn't. I rarely cry.
Okay, good. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Best piece of advice, okay. Too many advices I got. That's why.
All of them were best? All of them are best.
I can't think of best piece of advice.
You have not given the best piece of advice.
I think I've only given advice. I've not taken.
Okay. What's one small habit or hobby that always brings you joy?
Eating out with friends.
Okay. What is the one thing that your husband does that you find it annoying, but you also find it secretly cute?
He's cleaning the house all the time.
But it's also cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's because it keeps the house clean.
Okay.
But it's annoying that he's cleaning all the time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. If you could master any skill instantly, what would it be?
Okay, it's skill to play an instrument, which I never mastered.
Okay. Okay. If you could take your entire family on a dream vacation, where would you go?
Paris.
Wow. You recently went?
I went alone. So I'm working on a day when everyone will come.
Okay. If you had to sum up your life's journey in a single sentence, what would it be?
Adventurous.
Lovely. That's it. We're done with our rapid fire. We have a small gift for you, Andy. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Dr.
much,
Uma,
yeah.
for coming to our
Thanks.
show. We had a great time.
Yeah, and it was so enjoyable. I enjoyed it.